you know about Association of Indian Management Schools? It's a 34-year-old networking body of B schools in India, having a membership of about 600 top management institutions. AIMS focuses on professionalization of management education, protects interests of B schools, represents management institutions at national and international forums, financially supports members in academic events, funds research projects on management, disseminates management-related knowledge through its annual Management Education Convention, conferences, seminars, roundtables and workshops, organizes free weekly webinars on knowledge sharing and inspiring young leaders sessions for management faculty and students, supports B schools in admissions through Atma, AIMS test for management admissions. Visit https://atmaims.com for more details. Publishes a biannual AIMS Journal of Management. Visit https://aimsjournal.com for more details. Circulates a quarterly e-newsletter on AIMS activities. Conducts workshops on case writing. Encourages AIMS members to be part of decision-making processes as members of chapter management committees and the executive board. Encourages students' participation in free weekly quiz competitions by providing support to interested institutions. Facilitates networking and interaction among B schools. Why would you like to remain a non-member of AIMS? Pay a very low one-time membership fee and enjoy many lifetime benefits. Visit https://aims.org.in for more details.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rujuta Kulkarni, and I'm the founder and CEO of Pedagogy Incorporation. It is powered by Jamboree Education, Bimble Saudagar. Thank you all for joining in. I would request everyone to be on mute. If you have any questions, you can put that in the chat box. So Pedagogy and powered by Jamboree is India's oldest education abroad company. Post my MBA from Pune University, I have more than 10 plus years of experience. I got a chance to enter the world of entrepreneurship through this venture, where over the last 10 years, more than 10 years, I have been coaching and mentoring more than 50,000 students. And I've helped them study abroad, build their careers abroad. So today, all of you have assembled here. Thank you for that. I'll be moderating the event, where the topic is unleashing the employable MBA. Right. So over the last so many years, I've seen students embark on various paths, right from engineering, medicine, arts. But the fact that MBA has evolved so much over the last few years has always intrigued me. So to unleash this aspect of MBA, we have with us the man himself, Mr. Rohit Ghosh. So I'll quickly introduce Mr. Rohit Ghosh. So Rohit is born in Patna, raised in Maharashtra. He has a BA from Pune University and MTech from Thapar University, and is a gold medalist for MBA from NCR, France, which is the world's #1 B school. He has over 14 years of corporate experience in sales, marketing, product development, brand management, and euro-dollar trading. Parallelly, over the last 17 years, he has also been a part of the education management industry, from being a teacher to being a business leader. He is the only mentor in India to have coached more than 10 lakh students from BTech to management. His students are placed in their dream schools right from IIMs to the Harvards and are also working in companies right from TCS to Google. Over the last 6-7 years, he has started 2 companies, from which he has successfully exited. And he's currently executing the product business Shiksha. You learn business by doing. So without wasting more time, let's dive deep into the subject. Welcome, Rohit.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Rujuta, for the introduction, and thank you all the participants. I can see eminent people joining in. Thank you, Association of Indian Management Schools, AIMS, for giving this opportunity to share the mindset and the thought process that's happening in the entire industry and in India today. Yeah. So thank you, Rujuta, for moderating the event and giving us an opportunity.
Right. So to begin with, so my first question is, what do you mean by an employable MBA? Can you share some light on this?
Sure. First of all, this topic, unleashing, this word is quite powerful word. And then there's another powerful word, which is MBA. With that, there's an adjective, which is employable MBA. And in order to, explain this word, I would like all of us to understand the era that we are in. And that era is, I would say, the era of Amrit Kal. I am quoting some of the things of ENY report, which came very recently. In year 2022, there was a vision in India of Amrit Kal for the next 25 years. And in true sense, I believe as an economy, as a country, we are moving towards that. And as a management degree, whether it is a BBA or a PGDM or an MBA, it's a big impact. Whether you are a fresher or you are doing an MBA after a few years of experience, there is a big impact to it. So when we talk about employable MBA, it's very important for us to understand because MBA over the years, 1991 when liberalization happened and Dr. Manmohan Singh opened the gates in the Indian economy, and that's where this 3-letter word became pretty famous. And over the years, the whole idea of MBA, because there is a business angle to it, has evolved. So the MBA has to, in real sense, it has to evolve. Whether it has evolved or not, that's a different story. But in a significant manner, since the economy and the country has evolved, the perspective of MBA has also evolved. Now, when we talk today about employable MBA, and that's why I thought the context is more about Amrit Kal. How an MBA as a degree we need to visualize during this time, so that at the end of the day, people who are doing an MBA becomes employable. Now, when we use the word employable, we are not talking about a job, which is typically what the mindset is of a person who is thinking of pursuing an MBA or getting into an MBA. I'm talking about a career perspective, which is much more than a job, as you all understand. And that's why it's very important when we talk about employable MBA. It's very important to understand the growth drivers of Amrit Kal, because that's exactly are the growth drivers of being an employable MBA, which is more about the career mindset, which is, digitization today. So now I'm talking about how do we define an employable MBA? I define this from a perspective of digitization. Digitization is just a buzzword. It's a multiplier, which is a very, very important as a mindset. We talk about the use of smartphone. We are 1.2 billion in terms of the telephone subscribers, with only 837 million internet users across India, which means there's so much to happen as an economy, and whether it is in suburban, rural areas, everywhere. So digitization from a BFSI segment to a retail segment, it's a multiplier. So an employable MBA must have this mindset. That's how it is, right? The second driver definitely is the capital which is available, and the problem solving attitude, which we call it entrepreneurship, right? Entrepreneurship is not a fad right now anyway. 7 8 years before, with Oyo and other companies coming up, it was a fad. We used to see a big valuation and everything coming in the market. But today, entrepreneurship and the availability of private capital is about creating jobs, creating opportunities, and that is a mindset which is required even if you're not building a company, because that mindset is an entrepreneurship mindset, which is very, very important, right? Because that's how you build your career as you become part of a company. So that's also a growth driver as far as Amrit Kaal is concerned, right? So that's a very important aspect of your employable MBA. The third is the PLI schemes and the domestic manufacturing market, which has become very, very competitive, as we hear the slogans from our Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister, that Atmanirbhar Bharat and all those things that happened during the COVID times. It has just opened the kind of opportunities that the mind needs to have more from a business angle, whether it is the semiconductor industry, the EV industry, the drone industry, the green industry, something which is very, very important for a career mindset of an MBA, right? And the fourth one, definitely, as I just now use the word green, we need to talk about sustainability. We need to build that kind of culture. Now, I know I am talking right now at a 50,000 feet because that's how I'm defining employable MBA. We will come to the ground realities maybe in the next few questions, Rujuta ma'am. But the fact of the matter is, these are the drivers of the next 25 years, which automatically means these are the drivers for anyone and everyone to build his or her career as far as an MBA is concerned. We are talking about MBA, but matter of fact is, these are the drivers for any kind of education, especially the education that gives you opportunity to be a part of the economy.
Right. So now that you've explained what an employable MBA is, like you said, how do we incorporate this into our in the aspirants?
Correct. So as I said, I'm talking about right now, the first slide or the first question was more about what's an employable MBA and whether it's a MBA, PGDM, or a BBA program. Then the question becomes, how do you incorporate this? Because there is a structured syllabus. Over the few years, being a part of this ecosystem as an entrepreneur, I have seen that there is a structured syllabus in every college, depending upon the tier 1, tier 2 college. And then obviously college has a limited time to execute those things. And then there are ways and means that college takes care in terms of value-added certifications and other things. But is it helping in to bring this driver of employable MBA? Let's see to it. And there are some thoughts of mine that with this growth driver in mind for this Amrit Kaal, this is like an amazing time period for the next 25 years. How can you make this implementable? So how do we build this kind of culture? In my opinion, and that's what I've seen in last, I would say, 1.5 years in incorporating this. This can be implemented keeping in mind 3 pillars. The first pillar is technology. Technology, we cannot. So obviously there is a question that how internet. So thank you. Just give me 1 minute. I'll just share my screen again. Yeah. Rujuta, am I audible?
Yes, you are. Hello.
All right. Thank you. So, yes. Thank you. Technology is at the forefront now, which means it is very imperative for a management institute or a management aspirant to understand technology, learn technology. Now, when I say technology, the tools, whether it is Microsoft Excel as a tool, or whether it is a project management software, whether it is a chat GPT, or whether it is AI tool, we have to learn it. The question is how much and how to learn. And that's obviously a very pertinent question. We will come to it maybe later on. But fundamentally, in order to build the employable mindset of an MBA, technology is at the forefront. Without technology, you are still be doing a job. You will be a part of a legacy system, which anyway will become obsolete in the next 2-3 years. The second is enterprise learning. So what happens in most of the places that I've seen, and there's nothing right wrong, it's just the way the MBA has evolved. We typically talk about specializations, whether it is a marketing, finance, ops, agri, pharma, business analytics, and every specialization is taught very separately, which in my opinion is not an enterprise learning, because a business is not run separately. So for a finance student, it's very imperative also to learn organizational behavior. Otherwise, the person will not be able to perform in the company. It's also very important for him to understand some principles of marketing and see the applied principles, and also the ops part. Similarly, for other domains as well. Yes, you have to study a bit more because of your specialization that you have selected. But it has to be an enterprise level learning. It cannot be a learning in buckets or silos. Now, can it be done? The answer is yes. But how it can be done, maybe, as I said, maybe in a couple of slides from now. But fundamentally, this is another second thing to keep in mind when we are building a system of an employable MBA. One, technology at the forefront is very, very important. Very important. We have to use technology. Second is the enterprise level learning. How can you, so the specializations are like flowers. How can you, convert it into a garland and present that and then make you learn? That is where a business is learned that way. And the third is the ability to identify problems and solve. In every JD, job description, or every kind of situation, we see a point that comes out that people need to be problem solver. I would say one step ahead. We need to first identify a problem, that's very important, and then solve it in some way or the other. Identification has become a major challenge than solving it, in my opinion. And that has to be inculcated if that has to be a part of an employable MBA. That's what I, again, repeat myself, right? So, kind of maybe, summing up what I said in the last 13 to 14 minutes, is one, when we talk about employable MBA in today's time, there are growth drivers of the economy, and that growth drivers need to also become part of the building blocks of that mindset, whether that mindset is of an institute or of a aspirant coming into the system of doing this 3-letter word or 3-letter degree. That kind of mindset is very important to inculcate. And the second is, how do we bring that to a 0 level feat, is where the program has to be. So I understand that the entire curriculum cannot be based on this. I understand that there are many ifs and buts to it. But parallelly, this has to be done in this manner so that MBA eventually becomes an employable factor, and it just doesn't remain a job placement kind of mindset. So I think, ma'am, whatever you asked me the question, I fundamentally believe that this is how it has to be brought down in the sense, this is the implementation thought blueprint. Technology, so there are 3 pillars that has to be addressed: technology, enterprise level kind of learning, and building the entrepreneurial mindset through identification and solving of problems.
Right. Thank you so much for that. Was quite an elaborative perspective. So while we do now understand how to incorporate such a mindset, what do you think are the challenges that could typically happen during the execution part of this? Sure.
Yeah, it's a very valid question. When we want to implement something, there will be some challenges. We have faced those challenges when we incorporated this in 10 colleges across India, and more institutes want to incorporate this now. There are some challenges, and those challenges has to be addressed in a certain manner. And we have addressed it in a certain manner, and we can see a transformative change now in the last 8 to 9 months in the participants and in the entire ecosystem. So these are some of the execution points and the way we have overcome those challenges. First of all, this kind of mindset can be developed, in my opinion, with a method of teaching or coaching that is activity based. A student doing a master's program or a PGDM program and maybe a BBA program also needs to be more into design thinking mindset, needs to be more into activity zone mindset rather than sitting in a classroom and going through a PPT. So activity based learning is a very, very important aspect of building this kind of program. Something that we have built, keeping in mind all the three pillars which I have told you in the previous slide. So the challenge, the overcome the challenges of this implementation or this mindset in order to execute. One of the key things is activity-based learning. For example, converting a Harvard case study or an NCR or a Stanford case study into an activity or an IM case study, or some of the case studies which are pretty known into an activity, and then making sure that either it is an individual activity or a group activity, and making sure that the students are doing that activity in a certain manner so that there is a learning outcome of every activity and there is a associated skill, and we can map that skill or the outcome of that activity if it has come to that desired level. Activity-based learning, that's number one, right? Number two, I always say this, that the concept of DIY is kind of outdated now. There has to be a mixture of DIY, do it yourself, or DWY, which is do with me or do with you. So for example, the coach. So in my opinion, the days of trainers are kind of limited. It's the terminology. It's the wording is coaching, because coaching is some part is you do it yourself. For example, you give an assignment to a student and you do it yourself, and some part is I am also doing it with you. That's where you build. When we talk about millennials and the Gen Zs today, with where they are living in the world of instant gratification, or when we use the word that even if the activities are given, the activities are not done. I think the reason for that is that we only rely on DIY. We have to be with DWI, do with you. Now, when that happens, we have seen in 10 plus colleges that as I was talking, there is responsiveness. People want to grow. People want to learn. People are, yes, not all, but more than 70% of the crowd want to learn. They're excited. And there is a transformative improvement in the way they express themselves. They think about any particular aspect of a problem and move ahead. And that's how the mindset has been building up, which obviously helps them in their entire personality and eventually in job and going forward in their career. So the second aspect is the DIY and DWY aspect. The third is very important in my opinion, and that's where one of our USPs is the assessment part. So every activity, every DWY or DIY is associated with an assessment. Now that assessment has to be carried out. Very, very important. That assessment has to be done. And the participant must be motivated enough to do that assessment, because yes, that's what we call it, any kind of learning methodology, that you have given some theory, for example, in whichever manner you have given the theory, whether it is live, online, recorded, whether that person has understood that theory is very important. Now you have put into an activity, okay, that activity's learning outcome has to be assessed in a manner so that there is a feedback. And that's why the fourth point becomes very important, that in many places I have seen, previously the colleges ask some vendors to come and they teach something, right? They teach and they go, but nobody is assessing what is happening to the theory that has been given. For example, as simple as a topic like soft skill, right? Now, somebody comes and talks about soft skill, which is fine, perfectly fine. Then the person goes away. But how do you measure who has improved or who has not improved? Which can only come into manifestation only during the placement time or during the internship time, during the interview, which in my opinion is not proof. I would say not a very what do we say? It's like a complete approach in assessing the development of an individual. So it's very important that if we are talking about an employable part of an MBA degree, It has to be first based on three pillars that I have spoken about, because there is a direct correlation to the growth drivers of Indian economy. Then how do we execute it? We execute it based on three pillars, which is fundamentally the technology, then the enterprise kind of learning and problem solving. All three taken together, the learning has to be given, and this has to be corroborated with activity-based learning. Very, very important. The DWY and the DIY attitude. Assessments to be given. For every activity, there has to be an assessment. And more importantly, each and every student has to be given a feedback, which is very, very important. Something which we take a pride on in our program, and that's why so we call our set of people coaches, where they spend a lot of time in the reviews, in the assessments, in making the assessments and taking the reviews of those assessments and individual feedback, which gives a complete 360-degree development for an individual student of an institute. So, Rujuta ma'am, these are some of the significant ways which we have done hands-on to tell you that the challenges of execution can be, at a certain level taken care of while we are, incorporating such a high voltage and high energy program, which we eventually are calling Employable MBA program. Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much. And so what are your thoughts on the new age MBA mindset?
Okay. So I'm of the opinion that being in the part of the education management industry and in the corporate world for approximately 33 years now, I am of the opinion that this is the time for any Gen Z to be a part of the Indian economy for the next. So if we talk about a Gen Z to be around 23, 24 years and their economic life is around 40 years, then we are talking Amrit Kal for 25 years, right? And we are saying it's a 16 years. If somebody is at 22, 23, and the economic life is at 40 years, so we are talking about 16 years of economic life. I think this is the best time to think about being a part of Indian economy. The thing is, in my opinion, students, people who want to pursue their higher education in the form of management degree, they are all very not only talking about job, but also giving the environment where they can thrive. In my opinion, this is one of the best times to be a part of Indian economy in the form of the business mindset. And not to forget and not to quote some of the big numbers that I firmly believe, and which was there in the public report also recently, as I mentioned, the ENY report. Yes, in the midterm, we are all proud of being a part of the fastest growing large economy, and that's why I believe this is the time for anyone and everyone in the zone to do a business program and become part of the fastest growing economy. We have a potential of USD 26 trillion to be in the next 25 years. And our per capita income will be around USD 15,000 by 47, 48. So why not to be a part of this bandwagon and create that kind of ecosystem for everyone. At the end of the day, it's about the value, and the value right now is not only a job, it's a career. Skills now. I think we have been hearing skills for the last 5 years, 5-6 years, but I think it's gone beyond the word skills. It's the mindset now, right? Companies today are not ready to train. Companies today are not ready to, in fact, also tell you what needs to be done. It's like you figure out yourself. Once you figure out that is DIY, then we are there for helping you. That is DWY. So in India, we are talking about more than 100+ unicorns, right? How many of us, when we go into an MBA, and we have been interacting this with thousands of students that know about those unicorns, and they have heard only 7 or 8, but it's time for us to build that kind of culture using the three pillars of our incorporation of Employable MBA. It's time so that people are aware of our unicorns. They apply to the unicorns and get an opportunity to be a part of it. So, in my opinion, and it's my absolute honor to be in this part of the journey. And as a catalyst, me and my team have been helping so many students and institutes, and it's a humble experience to see the kind of transformational experience that these people are having. But I firmly believe that this is the best time to be a part of the Indian economy and contribute in the best possible manner.
Right. So yeah, this was quite insightful. Right. We have a couple of questions from our audience. I'll take them one by one. So the first question is, what is the MBA education model in the other parts of the world in comparison to business schools operating in India? So this is with respect to whatever we've spoken in the last few slides.
Sure. I have few questions also. Yeah, I can read those questions.
Sure.
First of all, thank you for the question. So there's a question from the Associate Dean Academics. Thank you for the question, sir. All right. Dr. Monica Suri, Associate Dean. Ma'am, thank you so much for the question. So I have been fortunate enough to be a part of Indian ecosystem education as well as international, being a part of the world's best B school. In my opinion, I think some of my slides, some of my information that I've given is based on that experience only. International B schools, and I'm talking about the reputed ones. It's the time. Typically in those when I was 8 to 9 years of experience, right, in the industry. So in my opinion, we just can't compare the models per se, because it's also the entry is so different. Okay. However, having said that, considering, say, we get experience also, right? So in that case, if we compare that thing, then I would say it's about a holistic learning rather than only being a job kind of mindset. That's what my kind of answer would be. The business school model is more holistic. When I say holistic, it's more practical. Being taught. And it's not only about the students. I'm sure you understand this. It's also about the entire ecosystem, the kind of professors,
I think we'll wait for a minute. I think he joined back.
some issues with the network.
Rohit, sir, your voice is still breaking. It's not very clear.
Coming back so that's where the difference is in terms.
There's no voice.
So in my opinion, it's the knowledge, attitude first, then the knowledge, and then the skill. So that's my answer, sir, to your question. Sorry, ma'am.
So can you please join?
Voice has been a bit the network to all. LinkedIn profile is there and everything. Answer that. What a very Dr. Sabri ma'am have this question. I have a very maybe not run of the mill answer for it. In my opinion, business analytics in a management school. In I would, as I said, I have a very different opinion for it. So it's very overrated. Business analytics in a management school first. So business analytics is important. There is no doubt about it, right? And if I talk about analytics, it has gone to AI and now it is
I think there's a technical issue. The voice is not audible at all.
He's joining back, I guess. Let us wait for 2 minutes. Yeah, madam, can you please ask him to join through mobile phone?
Issues. Sir, can we end this session for now? What I can do is, Rohit would like to answer all these questions that have been asked. So I can just make. Am I audible? Yeah. So, ma'am, can we, end this session right now? And I can take out the questions and maybe Rohit can answer them separately.
Yes, ma'am, we can do it, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Right. So, I'll just take these questions and I think Rohit sir will take these questions. And I think I have taken down the questions by everyone. I shall pass them down to Rohit sir. And I think he should mail the answers to the respective questions. So I think what we spoke about was the new generation MBA, the employable MBA. What are the challenges that colleges, students, and organizations face, and then how do we overcome those challenges? So I think if there's an opportunity, we can have this session again. Else, I think I'm sure the answers would be given to the respective questions. Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am.